We buried our daughter beneath a tree, and now it's changing. That sentence doesn't sound real when I say it, even now. But there's no other way to explain what's happening behind our house. When Lily died, the silence in our home felt like punishment. My wife stopped cooking, stopped talking, stopped sleeping. And I remember the day she said we should bury her under the old oak tree instead of the cemetery because that's where she played, where she laughed. It sounded right at the time. And when we placed her tiny coffin into the ground, the air felt calm, forgiving, even the leaves rustling softly. As if the tree itself was mourning with us. We told ourselves it was symbolic, something living to guard, something gone. But death doesn't care about symbolism. The first week after the burial, the tree began shedding bark in long, curling strips that looked like peeled skin. My wife said it was the weather, but it wasn't. It had been warm all week. No rain, no storms. Yet every night I'd find small piles of bark at the base of the trunk, and every morning there'd be more. Then one evening I saw something I can unsee. The bark had split down one side, exposing something that looked like flesh. I ran my hand along it, and it was warm. I told myself it was just trapped sunlight. That wood could hold heat. But when I pressed harder, he felt it pulse slow, rhythmic, alive. I pulled my hand back, scraping my palm, and that night, the air inside the house felt wrong. The walls creaked like footsteps, pacing behind the drywall. And around 2 a.m., my wife shook me awake, whispering that she heard humming outside. I went to Lilia's window and saw the tree swaying. Not from wind, there was no wind, but as if it was breathing, expanding and contracting in silence. I told myself it was grief, that I was imagining it. But when I went outside, the dirt above her grave had sunk lower, like something underneath had moved. Weeks passed, and the changes grew worse. The tree was growing unnaturally fast. I took photos, hoping I was imagining it. But in every picture, the trunk looked thicker, the branches closer to Lily's window. My wife stopped leaving the house. She said she could hear Lily's laughter at night, soft and playful, like it was coming from inside the walls. I told her it was her imagination, but I lied, because I'd heard it too. One night in the kitchen, I heard tapping under the floor, faint but deliberate. Tap, 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 like small fingers knocking from beneath. I pulled back the rug and saw a thin crack between the boards, the sound stopping instantly, and then came a smell. Wet earth, sour and heavy, rising up through the wood. I looked toward the window and saw the tree standing still in the moonlight, something glimmering faintly in its bark. I went out with a flashlight, and my heart froze. Stuck in the trunk was Lily's locket, the one she was buried with. The coffin was 6 feet underground. My hands shook as I called for my wife. When she came outside, she didn't scream. She only whispered, crying, "She's coming back." She walked toward the tree, pressed her ear to it, then whispered, trembling, "She's cold. She's so cold." When I pulled her away, her ear was bleeding, a small cut just from touching the bark. That night, she didn't speak at all. She sat in Lily's room until morning, staring out at that cursed tree. The next day I called a tree removal service, and the man on the phone hesitated when I gave our address. He said quietly, "You're not the first to ask about that tree." And when I pressed him, he just muttered, "Some trees shouldn't be touched," before hanging up. I decided to cut it down myself. I swung the axe once, and the sound it made wasn't wood. It was a wet, meaty thud, like hitting flesh. Thick, dark sap spilled out, bubbling like something alive, and the smell of decay hit me so hard I dropped the axe. That night, the house felt heavier, as if gravity thickened. The lights flickered. My wife mumbled Lily's name in her sleep, and just after midnight I heard a small voice outside call, "Daddy." It was her voice. I ran to the window. The branches were scraping the glass, and between them, something pale moved. The soil was shifting, moving like something crawling upward. I dug with my hands until I felt something cold. Lily's doll, the same one buried with her. Its eyes were open. By morning, the doll had vanished, and in its place, half buried in the soil, was a single human tooth. That's when I realized the tree wasn't changing. It was feeding. My wife wanted to leave, but when we tried, the car wouldn't start. The wheels were half buried in mud, thick and dark. Tugadad and tea rained in weeks. I looked underneath and saw the roots wrapped tight around the tires like they were holding us. My wife screamed, and we ran back inside. The living room floor had cracked open. The boards bowed, and something beneath was writhing like veins under skin. That night, we barricaded the doors, clutching each other, waiting for dawn. But daylight brought no comfort. The tree had grown taller. Its bark stretched tight like flesh, and faces had begun to form, one like my wife's, one like mine, and one that looked like Lily's. Her eyes were closed. Her mouth was slightly open, whispering. I reached toward it, and her eyes snapped open. I fell back screaming, crawling away as her eyes followed me. The air around the tree hummed, hot and alive. Birds stopped coming near. Even the insects vanished. That night, my wife disappeared. I woke to an open door and muddy footprints leading toward the oak. I followed them with a flashlight, shouting her name, until I saw something pale tangled in the roots. Her nightgown. I tried to pull it free, but the roots clenched tighter. Then I heard her voice behind me, soft, calm. Don't. I turned. She was standing naked, covered in mud, smiling. She's with us now, she said. It's better here. I ran until sunrise. When I came back, she was gone, and her wedding ring was embedded in the tree's bark like it had been swallowed. I tried to burn the tree. The fire caught, but the flames turned cold, sinking into the bark without smoke. The air reeking of iron. My hands were bleeding from gripping the match too hard. Then I heard Lilia's voice. Again, clear this time. Daddy, why did you leave me under the tree? Now I'm sitting here writing this because I don't know what else to do. The power keeps flickering. The walls groan like something beneath them is breathing. The tree's shadow crawls across the floor every night, longer and darker, reaching for me. I smell dirt, even with the windows closed. When you walk up, they were still there. The whispers haven't stopped. Some sound angry, some are laughing. I found Lily's doll again on her windowsill, smiling, its eyes stuffed with mud. The basement walls are cracking now, roots forcing their way in, thick black veins spreading through the concrete. When he sleep, primera drea. Of not as he was, but as he is now, gray-skinned, hollow-eyed, whispering for me to come outside and sit beneath the tree. I wake up screaming, but her voice keeps echoing long after I open my eyes. Sometimes I find myself at the door without knowing why, the ground calling me. I think it wants me. I think it wants all of us. Maybe that's what happens when you bury someone where they loved most. Maybe love rots and grows into something that remembers what it lost. I can't prove any of this, but if you're hearing this, please, never bury anyone beneath a tree. And if you already have, go look at it closely, because one night when the wind goes still and the earth begins to move you, I'll realize something has been growing beneath it all along. Something that isn't dead but isn't human either. Soft static. Find win. A child's distant laugh. If you're still listening, don't look out your window tonight. Because sometimes what we bury learns to look back. And if you see the branches move, it's already too late. The roots remember everything. The ground keeps every secret. And when it calls your name, you'll know what it feels like to be pulled home.